Hey, what's up, everyone? Let's get that little light out of there. Turn this on. Pay-per-view just finished. Turn this on. Good evening, everybody. This is your WWE Fastlane pay-per-view recap for March 21st, 2021. I am Don Tony. Welcome, everyone. Nice little pay-per-view. The road to WrestleMania. We call it every year the annual tradition. It's the rest stop. You got your road to WrestleMania, and sometimes you have to pull off the side of the road, get a little gas, stretch your legs. You're not going to see any major title changes, or the road is pretty much set. But if you follow the shows on a weekly basis, if you checked out the predictions over the last week or so, Retribution turning on Mustafa Ali tonight, check. The Fiend making his return, melted mask and all, check. Edge turning on Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, leading them both laying, check. And we could go on and on and on. Got every match predicted today. Now, that doesn't make us great. It just means that the show was very predictable. You knew there was no chance whatsoever that Roman Reigns was losing that belt tonight. It was just a matter of how you get to point A and point B. And Friday, when we did our predictions, there was a little scenario that I remember SoFly Bill Moore came up with, and I added to it, and basically was Edge, special enforcer, gets involved at the very end of the match. He ends up laying out one or both, pretty much screws Daniel Bryan out of the match. And what will happen on SmackDown is Daniel Bryan will complain to Adam Pearce that I had the match won, I should be in the match at WrestleMania, and they will book it. It will be Edge. It will be Roman Reigns. It'll be Daniel Bryan. Unless, little curveball. I like throwing curveballs. It doesn't mean, when you throw a curveball, it doesn't mean you're always going to nail a strike. You think there's any chance Daniel Bryan is the special guest referee at WrestleMania? Just something I thought about tonight, because I know a lot of you out there don't really want to see Daniel Bryan in the match at WrestleMania. Me personally, I do. I want to see Edge and Daniel Bryan go at it a little bit. Now, look, if Edge can work on a little bit more of a regular basis, and we already know Daniel Bryan can, maybe they could have a nice little feud after WrestleMania. But, let's see what happens. I mean, for my chat room, welcome, family. You're on the screen tonight. Let your voices be heard. What did you think of the pay-per-view on a scale of 1 to 10? I already know what some of you, but type it again. And which would you rather see? Would you rather see, you could just type A or B. A, the three-way, Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, and Edge for the championship. Or B, Roman Reigns versus Edge, Daniel Bryan, special guest referee. Which one would you rather have? A, the three-way, B, Daniel Bryan as the referee. Don't discount the possibility of that happening, because now, the way it's set up, Daniel Bryan has legitimate reason to be pissed off at both. He doesn't like Roman Reigns. Now he certainly doesn't like Edge. So, all right, I'm looking. Okay, all right. Look, as far as the pay-per-view, I thought it was an okay pay-per-view. The first hour, I think it was pretty much Raw, SmackDown quality when you think about it. One Fall says, no three-way. It's done. Daniel Bryan lost. LOST. We'll see Friday. But you know, one of those two scenarios are happening. Daniel Bryan is get used to it. Daniel Bryan will be involved in the WrestleMania match. unless they do something with him and Jey Uso again. And I don't know if I really want to see that, to be honest with you. So now, look, I was just trying to be lighthearted online tonight. There were a lot of fans complaining. Now, yours truly, by the way, shout out to everybody tuning in live. Much love to my YouTube family. Much love also to Facebook, Periscope, Comic Book Guy, Onza Motors, Lewis, and everybody else tuning in. Austin Nance, Sam, Chad Metters, One Fall, Mighty, Mark Rush, Greg in Brooklyn. Greg, what's going on? Greg's been a friend of the family for 20 years. No joke. Psycho 187. Brandon. Oh, what's up, my friend? No, we can't have you just, on the scrolling screen. I should come to your wedding in July. Brandon, I saw Papagiorgio. I was like, wait, who's Papagiorgio? Brandon Foley. You're getting married, my friend. I can't say that too loud because obviously COVID screwed up my engagement. And by now I should have had the wedding planned. I got somebody in the other room taking a dump right now. She's right next door and she hears me talking wedding. She's going to get, a little bit pissed off. And I don't blame her. Maybe I could join you in July. Seriously. Don't super chat this, but are you in my neck of the woods? DM me on Patreon. DM me on Patreon. If it's not that far of a drive, maybe I could stop by. We will see. Rob Cole, as far as Batista and the WWE Hall of Fame, let's talk about that tomorrow since it really doesn't have much to do with Fastlane tonight. I want to get more information as well. You know me, I always want to be right than to be first. Let's see what's going on. There could be some logistics involved. There's a lot of things that could be involved. I don't know. But I will say this tonight, and thank you, Brandon Foley, not just for tonight, but for all of your support. And you know that. I really mean that very much. Jay Carlos, thank you again, my friend, for the love and support. And towards the end of the show, I really, really want to thank you for that. Much love. Much love also to Mark Rush. Who should lose at Mania, Roman Reigns or Bobby Lashley? Roman Reigns definitely needs to hold that title throughout the summer. You start getting fans back in attendance. There are not many main event guys that WWE has right now that fans really want to pay to see. Now, don't get me wrong. And I've been saying this the last couple of days. You hear the energy from the fans at WrestleMania that weekend. It's going to give the vibes of Saudi Arabia. And I'm sorry for repeating it for everybody that tunes in every day, but Saudi Arabia, you have fans that only wished WWE could show up and perform live and in person when they finally got that opportunity. You could have had the fat oily guy come out. And I think all the Saudi fans would have been like wiggling their asses. Well, they probably wouldn't do that, but they would have been into it. So we're going to get that vibe WrestleMania weekend. COVID is starting to get under control. We're not out of the woods yet, but 2-3 months from now, you're going to have another 100 million people vaccinated, fully vaccinated. Right now, you got like 30, 40 million, I think, that only have one shot. So you start having fans back in attendance. There's not that many names. I mean, look, I am a fan of Edge. He's had a Hall of Fame career, no question. But Edge as heavyweight champion in 2021, I know the 50 and over demographic seems to be a better rating that WWE draws mostly on NXT, but in 2021, you have to have a champion that could connect with more fans, not less. And I don't think Edge is that person. Daniel Bryan, yes, he's still one of the most beloved wrestlers on the roster. His career is starting to wind down. Sure, why not have Daniel Bryan as a champion again? But right now, money is on Roman Reigns keeping it. Money eventually will be Big E trying to go for that title from Roman Reigns. That's the way to go. Now, Bobby Lashley, it's interesting because Bobby Lashley, because we don't have live fans, a lot of the emotion expressed towards Bobby Lashley has been online. And honestly, the fans are going to pop for Bobby Lashley. But don't, just because you got whiny heinies on social media that have to crack jokes at Drew McIntyre just to get that acknowledgement from social media. Drew McIntyre has a huge fan base. A lot of fans, and I've said it since February or March of last year. Didn't I? No, actually it was April of last year. Remember I said Drew McIntyre will always be looked back at as the COVID champion. That guy, under very, very hard circumstances, represented the championship well. Was it a good year for wrestling as a whole? No, it wasn't a good year for anything. Life, it doesn't matter. But Drew McIntyre did a damn good job holding that belt. And I guarantee you a boatload of fans out there appreciated and thank Drew McIntyre for trying to carry that title the best he could possibly can under the circumstances. So people thinking that Drew McIntyre is going to get booed out of the building at WrestleMania because Bobby Lashley looks the part. He does. And I like Bobby Lashley. And I also think Bobby Lashley should retain at WrestleMania as well. I don't want to see either of them lose the belts at WrestleMania. What's up, Bong Style? What's going on, my friend? Mr. Mike. Chris, C-Med. Let's fill in the blanks a little bit. You know what? Yes. Let's give props, Curazabel. The Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan match tonight was phenomenal. It didn't have to do too much. It told a really good story in the ring, outside the ring, the referee bump, Edge getting involved. If you really want to split hairs, Daniel Bryan should have gotten disqualified for using the chair, period. But they put on a phenomenal match. Look, I've said this, I know I said it as recent as Friday. Roman Reigns, as much as some of you did not like Drew, and hear me out, as much as some of you did not like Drew McIntyre as heavyweight champion for a bulk of the COVID era, when COVID was really, in your face and just, doing its damage. And it still is, obviously. Roman Reigns, his 200-plus title reign, has been one of the most predictable reigns, pun intended, in the history of WWE. And I'm not criticizing Roman Reigns, but let's just look back at his championship run. There have been primarily three people that he had his biggest feuds with: Jey Uso, Kevin Owens, Daniel Bryan. Did anybody out there whatsoever think that Jey Uso ever had a chance of taking the belt off for Roman Reigns? Absolutely not. Roman Reigns has been knocking his character out of the park. That was one of the benefits. That's one of the benefits of the COVID era. WWE dictated how they wanted the chants. They dictated the crowd. Look, I was actually getting a little chuckle tonight how long they had the "This is awesome" chant going tonight for Drew versus Sheamus, and it was an awesome match. If you follow the show, I love these two guys going at it. I don't like how they said this 20-year feud is over. I didn't like that tonight because, they're going to have a match once in a while still. That's not going to stop. I know the overall feud is pretty much done, but with Roman Reigns, they have dictated how they want the character to go. Even early on, they were forcing the narrative of him being a heel, the boos, the piped in stuff. You look at Thunderdome early on and all the fans are like this and you hear boo, But Roman Reigns has knocked it out of the park. He is the perfect example of taking chicken shit and turning it into chicken salad. Apollo Crews, good example of turning chicken shit into chicken salad. Big E has done a phenomenal. There's been a decent number of wrestlers who have taken this situation and turned it into a major plus. But when you look at Roman Reigns' title reign, it's been a very predictable one. No one thought, for the most part, Jey Uso was going to take the belt off of him. No one, for the most part, really thought that Kevin Owens was going to take the belt off of him. It just didn't, the vibe wasn't there. He was on such a tremendous momentum. Whoever takes the belt off of Roman Reigns, It's got to be a magical, memorable, tremendously important moment in recent wrestling history. And none of what we've seen during his 200-plus title reign gave us the feeling, oh, tonight's the night he's losing that belt. Now, here's where I give a compliment. Further compliment. The fact that Roman Reigns has had one of the most predictable runs in recent memory. And even though you knew he was retaining almost every time, the fact that everybody loved it anyway is major props on Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Kevin Owens, and Daniel Bryan. Takes two to tango. The fact that you could go past the fact that you knew that Roman Reigns was going to retain in any particular match, the fact that you were able to go past that and still enjoy what you were watching on TV, that's phenomenal. That's when you know that somebody is doing something right. Let me just fix this because it's a little cut off over here. Let me just fix this. There we go. Danny is telling me to check my Facebook messages. He sent me his follow-up about the network. Oh, sure. Absolutely, my friend. Yes, without a doubt, I will definitely do that for you. And you know what? Let me make this a little smaller, a little tighter. Yeah, we like tight things. That didn't sound right. Oh, now I'm starting to screw it up. All right, let's leave it like this. That's better. So, give Roman Reigns a lot of credit that he's had one of the most predictable runs, and we don't care. His match with Daniel Bryan tonight was well worth watching it on pay-per-view. Look, I go back to the 80s watching wrestling, and I was a Hulkamaniac back in the day. And for many, many years, you know, they tried so hard to make us think that this opponent was going to be the one to beat Hogan. Honestly, I think truly, Paul Orndorff might have been the first person that I thought maybe had a chance, but Andre the Giant was the second. But everybody that they put him up against, Kamala, One Man Gang, King Kong Bundy, Big John Studd, Magnificent Morocco, Terry Funk, and you just go down the line, none of us thought it. But still, when we went home happy from the Garden that he retained, didn't matter. So, so props to Roman Reigns, man. That match tonight was excellent. Gave us our money's worth, no question. I just want to fix one more little thing over here. That's better. Yeah, I know it's not the 80s, Mr. Mike, but the point is, the fact that you're able to do that in the 2020s is a big deal. Because you got social media, you have a lot of things, plus the cat is out of the bag. I mean, kayfabe was still protected in the 80s. The fact today that you know that Roman Reigns ain't losing the belt anytime soon, and yet you could still get into the feuds and get into the matches and love it. You know, there's so many people out there over the years, because you know who's going to win, it kind of lets a little bit of the air out of the bag. You know, so the fact that you could bypass that, that's a compliment to those guys, really. So, all right, so I guess we could start running down these matches a little bit. Oh, one other thing. Tonight, Peacock had its first live streaming of a WWE live event. And I subscribed to Peacock today. I was going to wait until the end of March. You know, $250 for 4 months, $10 for 4 months. I'm going to, be cheap and wait an extra week. I just did it today to watch Peacock and watch the pay-per-view tonight on Peacock. Now, I didn't have the need to rewind or pause or restart. I watched it, had no problems whatsoever. I got an alert that WWE was addressing the people, that they were going to address the issues with Peacock tonight. And I was saying, what are you talking about? There was no problems with Peacock tonight. And then I started looking a little bit further. And apparently you could not pause the event. You could not rewind the event. And it was just live. Now, All right, I could understand why that might be a little bit annoying for some, but you had to see some people today. I fucking subscribed today. I'm going to cancel my subscription. This is bullshit. Why do we have to do this? This is and whining and complaining. And all I kept thinking about was, can you imagine if these people were around in the 90s? The viewers' choice days when we had to watch and you had to record with a VCR. We had no opportunity to rewind. We had no opportunity to pause. God, if you tuned in late or you went in the other room, oh my God, I missed that. What happened with Sasha? Oh, the loudest, the reddest. How was that slap heard around the world? I don't know, man. Bianca, with all due respect, you know, she's like holding her face. I mean, show that you're pissed off. I mean, you were pissed off, irate that Reginald was getting involved in all of this. You get slapped in the face and you're the EST. You're supposed to be the angriest, not the... You saw the look on her face. If her face could talk, this is what it was. Oh no. Was it Dwayne from What's Happening? Yeah, Benjamin, I'm sorry. Your little round thing is cut off on the screen a little bit. You know, I'm not going to start doing technical stuff right now, unfortunately. I tried, but actually, you know what? No, wait. There we go. Look at that. So Benjamin should get a face pop from everybody tuning in. I don't like saying fans. We're all family here. I don't have fans. I have friends and family. That's what you are. Yeah, that slap. The loudest, the hardest, the reddest. Thank God, this Reginald interaction with Sasha and Bianca is gone. There was never a need for it. And I'm sorry for repeating what I've been saying the last couple of Fridays, but it reminds me of Brock Lesnar versus CM Punk. The Beast versus the best. That's it. I mean, you have the boss versus the EST. You don't need no Reginald to get involved with this. Again, I'm sorry for repeating. They sound like 15-year-old girls, and they're actually repeating it. That's on you. You keep bringing up Reginald. That's like high school stuff. Okay, Psycho says the Fiend looks dumb. Listen, everybody. The Fiend has returned, okay? His face is not going to have special effects on it. Remember, the Fiend got burned alive, not Bray Wyatt. So if you see the Firefly Funhouse come back and Bray Wyatt still with the sweater and everything else, remember, Bray Wyatt didn't get melted. He got melted. So they had to do this tonight. He comes back and the mask is melted. Look, you know, I'm not trying to disrespect this because I'm one of the few that enjoyed the storyline. You know, if you didn't like the with all of the, you know, the black liquid and all that, you know, rest easy. That before you know it, unless it's a pre-recorded segment, earlier in the day, you don't have to deal with that anymore. This was another result of COVID. What you saw tonight with Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton was recorded yesterday and part of it earlier today. That wasn't live. That is part of the beauty with COVID, with this storyline. You know, they could set it up. All right, ready? Action. And then the light fixture comes down. You throw the fireball. You know, that's all pre-recorded. So, you know, I know for us wrestling fans, you want to see tope suicidas and you want to see kicks and punches. You don't want to see black gunk kind of, but that's the storyline. This is what it is. The Fiend Supernatural. You see, that's what and by the way, shout out to Shahin Nuclear Heat Graphics. I know he made a template for tonight's show. I did not see it until literally a half an hour before I went live today. What you see on the screen, I actually made it myself, just messing around, just to try to keep it basic. So we had a chat room and we got my face. So, but big shout out to him. But, that's what it's about. It's the special effects for the storyline. The Fiend makes his return. The last time we saw him, he was in the ring getting burned alive. So, of course, the mask has some burns to it. Now, as far as his outfit goes, you ain't going to be wrestling like Swamp Thing. It's bad enough that it's uber thick and padded and everything, but that's what it's supposed to be, the visual. Remember Kane, when Kane took the mask off and he looked like Curly from the Three Stooges? Remember? I laughed. Remember when he unmasked to Rob Van Dam? I laughed. I said, what is that? I couldn't stop laughing. He had like black makeup on and stuff like that. But that's the point. They did a storyline for so long that he got burned in a fire and deformed. Unfortunately, Kane didn't have, an Uber, a second identity that was in a fun house, that he could be just regular, I don't know, whoever. And then couldn't do that. With Bray Wyatt, though, you can. Yes, that face. I'll never forget. But look, Kane has had a Hall of Fame career. In fact, Kane's not in the Hall of Fame, right? Maybe they should put Kane in the Hall of Fame. Just saying. Now, look, Barrio. I just wanted to mention this quickly. Barrio passed away over the weekend. I don't remember his exact age, but he was in his 60s. Anybody have his age offhand? He was like 69. He was in his 69 sounds awfully old, because I remember him wrestling in the 80s, the mid 80s, which was 35 years ago. There's no way he was 34 years old at the time. He was probably like 62, 63. Okay, thank you, 62. Viper Rocky, 62. The reason why WWE did not acknowledge it, and the reason why even Randy Orton did not acknowledge it, is because Barrio was in a lot of controversy with the WWF back in the day. All right, and they don't want to rehash that. You got to understand also, that guy, Tom, what was his name, Tom Cole, that recently passed, and he was the one that sued WWF because of Mel Phillips and, some of the accusations of, we don't need to bring that up. WWF does not want people to start Googling about Barrio and start seeing some of the controversy from back in the day. That is why you didn't see it. Do I agree with it? No. Somebody dies. They died. It wasn't any... Look, was it Tom Cole's fault that Mel Phillips wanted to play with his feet? Is it Barrio's fault because another wrestler wants to touch him? Is it? No, it's not their faults. So don't treat them like they did anything wrong. If they sued, if they complained, if they went to TV, if they went to news, blame the people that were doing that. So that's why you didn't see any mention. I would be shocked. I'd be shocked if they mention Barrio on the screen tomorrow night on Raw. I don't see that happening. Once again, much love to everybody tuning in live. Joel Ruiz says the Fiend looks like the Toxic Avenger. Let's bring this up too. Okay, tonight Drew McIntyre came out with a little bit of war paint, and a lot of people immediately thought of Braveheart. All right. I liked the look. I thought it was great. But in case some of you out there maybe did not see this before, WWE has actually had some dress in the paint before. Case in point, besides Drew McIntyre, we have Triple H. Wasn't that WrestleMania Goes Hollywood? I think that's what WrestleMania Goes Hollywood. Triple H did the Braveheart spoof. That's Triple H. Who remembers this? Don DeMarco, Don DeMarco. Yeah. Oh, no, wait. No, I'm sorry, that wasn't it. Oh, there's Morrison. Now, okay, things are getting a little out of array right now. I thought, that's my fault. I thought for a minute it was the rap battle. No, we forget that the New Day actually had other segments as well. But now the war paint, Look, New Day did it as well. I like it. But then if you forget, look at this. I mean, how ironic is this? John Morrison. And who is he talking to? The chosen one. So we've had a few Bravehearts. So a couple of super chats. Dustin Hill, I was so right about the Fiend not showing up. Oh, what are you talking about, Dustin? Dustin, I think you're tuning into a wrong show, because for the last 2 weeks I said at Fastlane, everything will take a major turn. In fact, on Friday I said the Fiend makes his return. All right, in my predictions, the Fiend was going to make his return. So I'm happy the Fiend is back. Now the WrestleMania match. Oh, I almost forgot. What about earlier today when I said to everyone, here's hoping that Shane McMahon continues the mind games on Braun Strowman. The mind games. Shane McMahon hurting his ankle? No. Tomorrow we're going to see Shane McMahon, and it's going to be revealed that he was faking it to try to get out of the match with Braun Strowman, and that will lead to the WrestleMania match. It'll lead to the WrestleMania match. So trust me, you tune in on, okay, all right. If you tune in on a weekly basis, I promise you, if you're not sure as far as what's going to happen with a particular storyline, you could always go at the top of your building and plug in a little lamp, and you can signal for yours truly. And I will come to the rescue and give you accurate information. So we had a pretty damn good week, you know, and wait till additional WrestleMania tickets go on sale. Right now, they're setting up all the pods, and they're trying to see if they can add additional seats, and it looks like that they will. Yeah, some of you out there never saw that before. You don't signal for Batman. You signal for Fat Man. Yes, yours truly. I'm not stupid. I know I still got pounds to lose. That's not Batman. That's Fat Man. So, anyway, let's talk about this pay-per-view a little bit. And by the way, as always, if you don't mind, if you're enjoying the show, smash that like button, give it a thumbs up. The more you do that, the more that tells YouTube you enjoyed the show. I would greatly appreciate it. I try not to overdo it on these shows. Oh, you know what? Couple other comments. So Fly. He thinks the Smoking Skull session with Randy Orton is going to be great. I already watched half of it. In the beginning, I almost turned it off. When Steve Austin actually said to Randy Orton that he thinks right now Randy Orton's doing the best work of his career, I wanted to shut it off. Nothing against Steve Austin, man. He's obviously one of the greatest of all time. But I'm sure a lot of you out there have noticed over the last couple of years, Steve Austin, that edgy Steve Austin is no longer here. And you know what? That's not necessarily a bad thing, but you look at Randy Orton's career and you look at Evolution when he was spitting in Foley's face and Harley Race and when he was feuding with Triple H and some of the other things that went on. You mean to tell me because he's in sci-fi voodoo clips, because he's coughing up chocolate syrup, Bosco, that's some of the best stuff in his career? But I continued watching. And when Randy Orton was talking about getting his dishonorable discharge and coming up through OVW and, you know, just paying his dues, I'm telling you, I've watched half of it so far. Even if you all are not Randy Orton fans, or maybe he's not high on your list, go watch it. It's well worth it. Believe me, the first half of what I've seen so far, I've enjoyed it tremendously. Tyree Jones, he read my mind. Got to give him credit. He said that before I made my comment. I just wasn't paying attention. Seeing the Fiend tonight gave him the vibes of Kane as well. Not necessarily 1997, though. To me, this was the Kane when he was forced to unmask with the storyline with Rob Van Dam. By the way, shout out to AS7607. She is recovering nicely from COVID. I don't think she is negative anymore, but she's been doing everything that she's supposed to. And, that was sad, man, seriously. And my apologies also. It's not a chauvinistic remark, but I see nicknames in the chat room and I immediately assume that everybody is male. I don't expect a lot of females tune into the shows, even though I know there's about 15% of you that do. But while she was tuning into the show, she was in the hospital having COVID symptoms. And my God, if my show can't piss you off enough, imagine getting a doctor at the same time telling you have COVID. Yeah, Mark, I could joke about myself. I have some poundage to lose. I don't mind calling myself fat man. Danny Blackstock. Oh, yes. I will definitely. And by the way, on Friday, in case any of you missed it, I did talk about on Friday about these. You'll be able to redeem them on a website. You'll be able to cash them in for other gift cards, Amazon, Domino's, eBay, charity, gas, Visa, MasterCard. There's so many. The funny thing about it is, I don't understand, seriously, I don't understand why WWE just did not tell everyone you could redeem it on our store. But you know what? The fact that they signed up with a company, I don't remember the name offhand, I have it written down somewhere, but the fact that they set up with a company that you could redeem it pretty much for whatever you need it for, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And hell, I got 3 of these. I have $180 worth of cards, So, Jay Carlos, yes, we are family. Absolutely. I will make sure that nobody has to pain through me doing Sister Sludge tonight, but we are family. Absolutely. Anybody who knows me, I've been doing this since 97. I have never called any of you that tune into the show fans. I know there's a lot of people out there, it goes right to their head. Oh, shout out to my fans, my fans, my fans. Trust me, there ain't much about me that puts me higher than you. We're all family here. We're friends. We're brothers from other mothers and sisters from other misters. Havili, what's up, man? Havili, we have a mixed tag team match at WrestleMania. Randy Orton and a partner versus Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss. No. I don't know if you were tuning in about 4 or 5 months ago, but I had an idea for 1 week. I got my family in Scotland. I can't lose. I thought, hey, what about Randy Orton teaming up with Nikki Cross, going up against Alexa Bliss and The Fiend? That was like 4 months ago, 5 months ago, and look what happened with Nikki Cross. I feel bad for her, seriously. I will never get out of my head. It'll be a miracle if I have this photo sitting in my library where I could access it right now. If I have it, oh man, but I don't think I have it. It never works out that way. I'm looking up. I'm trying to see. I don't think I have it. That sucks. I'll check one more. Oh, no, that's not it. Let me check one more place. I'm sorry for those on audio only to what the hell is he doing? Oh, I got to pull it up. Now I have to pull it up. Let me see if I could pull it up. This was Royal Rumble time. This is Royal Rumble. Where come I can't find? Oh, wait. Hold on. This might be it. I'll never forget that picture. That sucks, man. I'm looking for it. Damn. I'm going to let you all down. I can't find it. That sucks. Well, I'll never forget that picture of all the women. I'm still looking for it. All the women that were posing for the Royal Rumble, and you look closely, and there was only one person that had this real big puss on her face, and it was Nikki Cross. And it was just a sad thing to see. Now I got to find it. I must find it. Let me just check one more place. Take me 2 seconds. It would be great if I could find it. There's no way I would have deleted it, though. No good. Oh! Persistence pays off. Persistence pays off. Let's flash back to the Royal Rumble. This was cute for various reasons. After this picture was posted, you had people out there, oh, Casey Catanzaro. Oh, breaking news. Casey Catanzaro was supposed to be in the Royal Rumble, but they didn't use her. They didn't have breaking news. They saw this photo and they said, wait a minute, with the exception of Tyson Kidd, the only person in this photo that was not in the Royal Rumble was Casey Catanzaro. So This was the infamous photo. You know, let's flash back a little bit. Let's zoom in and let's look at this roster. There you got Toni Storm smiling even though she's a heel. And we got Lana and Ember Moon and Rhea Ripley, Nia Jax, Bianca, everybody, because this was the Royal Rumble. You see the Iconics hugging again. And that was really nice to see, even though I was never a fan of the Iconics. Tamina, Bayley, Sasha Banks, Mickie James having a time of her life. And there's Casey Catanzaro, Lacey Evans, soon to be pregnant. Congrats to her. We have Natty. Look, Carmella. Oh, we can't forget Naomi. But then when you look at the top, there was only one person that didn't seem to be, you know, smiling and having a good time. And we felt really bad for her. Really bad for her. And since then, my God. So, no, I don't see that being a mixed tag match, unfortunately. So, no. I'm glad we found the picture. Sorry, Nikki Cross. I'm a fan of Nikki Cross. I like her. Smoking Hydro, much love. And Smoking Hydro wants to give a shout out to everybody out there. I love your picture, by the way. I like that picture. Definitely like that picture. Oh, AS7, that was the signal for Deli Man. Yeah, that's good. Like I said, if you ever need anything accurate and you're not sure, just seek me out. Seek me out. Trust me, I think the LED runs on batteries too, so you don't even need to plug it in. So, but thank you. I'm glad you're feeling better, and I know a lot of people tuning in live feel the same way as well. Mikkel is asking, where is Nikki Cross right now? Probably in a hotel room, you know, or a temporary apartment. It's late. It's 10:30 at night. They have to get up early tomorrow. Sage, been a fan since 2013. Thank you very much. And Mikkel, I know that was a wise-ass answer. I've been doing that since 97. When somebody asks me late at night, like, where is so-and-so, I usually say probably sleeping. It's 2 a.m, you know. So that's just my corny answer. I'm sorry. So let's talk about the pay-per-view tonight. Wow, we're going... How long are we going? An hour already? And we didn't even get into match by match. I'll tell you this much, seriously. Match by match tonight wasn't a whole lot of specifics that need to be talked about. Riddle and Mustafa Ali, pretty much what we thought was going to happen. Now, did we think it was going to be on the pre-show? No, I don't even think we wondered what match was going to be on the pre-show. But Ali defended the championship against Riddle on the pre-show, the United States title. And once again, Bro Derek, Mustafa Ali is pinned. Fun match, absolutely fun match. But Ali does exactly what we thought was going to happen this pay-per-view. He starts berating Retribution, starts yelling at Mia Yim. She walks away. Which one is it? Stink or Vink? It's Vink, right? He walks away, slapjack, and this leaves T-Bar and Mace. And, you know, we said Friday, it's either they walk away or they attack him. And we got both because, you know, Mia Yim walks away, Slapjack walks away, and we have Mace and T-Bar both give him the double choke slam. They walk away as well. Retribution is over. Now, I will have more comments to say about that on Monday. In fact, you know what? We could do this. We could have a little banner in the corner. There we go. That's nice. Monday, I'll talk about Retribution with Mish a little more. I think we can all agree that Retribution might have been one of the less appealing storylines and factions in recent memory. We're trying to say that a little respectful. But let me say this. And I know over the last 2 years I've been more positive about things, but let's be honest. If you follow social media, you know Mustafa Ali and T-Bar, even Mia Yim to an extent, but T-Bar, Dijakovic, and Mustafa Ali, them two really tried to make this shit work. I mean, I'm not saying that the other members didn't either, But T-Bar, social media, trying to be a little bit edgy, and honestly, I think a lot of his edginess people were enjoying. Mustafa Ali doing a lot of segments, a lot of promos, a lot of social media stuff. They tried their hardest. I mean, let's be honest, seriously. This was a storyline, and nobody is going to say otherwise. WWE tried to do an Antifa storyline. That's what happened. They tried to do an Antifa storyline, and you remember that night on Fox, they gave a TV 14 rating, and a lot of those schnooks online said, oh, it's because Braun Strowman almost chokeslammed Alexa Bliss. Remember Braun had Alexa Bliss in the air and didn't they said that was the reason why? No. Fox, and I reported it firsthand, because not that I was first or anything, I wanted to be right. Fox told WWE, we do not want this Antifa garbage on our network again. You never saw Retribution on Fox again after that. Nothing. It was gone. It became Raw exclusive, and that was the beginning of the end. They thought they were going to be edgy, but it was stupid. They all signed contracts. We signed contracts so we can put you out of business. That's like my fiance saying to my face, honey, I want to marry you so I can take all your money. How stupid is that? Just think about this for a minute. Think about this for a minute. Retribution. This is not their fault. This is what WWE wanted in the storyline. WWE in the storyline wanted that Retribution signed contracts, and they signed with WWE so they could put them out of business. Now just think about that. That is if you thought the Matt Riddle character was brain dead, if Matt Riddle would have been perfect for Retribution, dude, bro, I just signed a contract. Now I work for them so I can really put them out of business. Bro. If somebody signs a contract that works for me and then goes on social media, yo, dude, I just joined Don Tony's office. I'm going to take that son of a bitch, put him out of business. Before that guy even clicks send, I'm at his door. Get the fuck out of here. You're fired. It was a storyline doomed to fail. Dijakovic has had a lot of TV time, albeit with a mask over him. Mia Yim, we know what Mia Yim could do. Slapjack, I don't think would have had really much of a chance. There was no way he was going to be an original member of the Hurt Business, if you remember. I think a lot of people forget about that. So I personally think it was a faction doomed to fail. They tried to make it work, and it just didn't work. So you know what? Dio Madden got a lot of experience out of this. Dio Madden will do just fine without Retribution, the group. Maybe they keep the name. I don't know. But Dijakovic is a star. He was phenomenal in NXT. So the guy could go. So we know what he can do. So now now you have to adjust the character a little bit. We've had wrestlers with masks before, so there's no reason why they can't excel with masks. It just depends on who they feud with and what they go for. I got news for you. Look at the tag team division. You know, SmackDown people aren't too thrilled about the tag team division on SmackDown. I think T-Bar and Mace would be a nice tag team for the tag team division. I mean, come on. They're two big mother, you-know-whats. So I'd like to see that. Sage, have a good night, my friend. I know you're not going to see this now because he already left for the night, but much love, my friend. So as of right now, Ali is out of Retribution. What happens to the remaining members, we will see. But Riddle retains, and now we have the pay-per-view itself. And the pay-per-view opens up for the Women's Tag Team Championships. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler retaining over Sasha Banks and Bianca. Like I said, I'm not saying it'll be a jerk, but every match for this pay-per-view, including NWA, we got right. So, the outcomes were very predictable. that doesn't, like I said, that doesn't make us like extremely smart. It just means that the pay-per-view was extremely predictable, and maybe we were hoping for little swerves. I think, honestly, and I think you all will agree, probably the toughest match to call tonight was Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton, because we had no idea what we were going to get out of that. But this women's tag match, it felt like a match you would see on SmackDown. There were points that you thought that Sasha and Bianca could possibly win. WWE, I forget, it might have been, I'm trying to remember which announcer it was. They were bringing up the fact that Shawn Michaels and John Cena were tag team champions, and then they went into WrestleMania as a team as well. But, in the very end, you got the same shit that we have been seeing for weeks. Reginald is at ringside. Reginald distracts Sasha and Bianca. Sasha goes to hit that double knee, off the apron onto Reginald and misses. Bianca is looking in the way of Sasha and Reggie, and we think that's going to be the end of the match. It doesn't necessarily end there. Shayna hits her Kirifuda clutch on Bianca Belair, and then she ultimately gets out of that. Sasha Banks has the bank statement on Shayna Baszler, and what the storyline is that Sasha Banks thought that she was going to get Shayna to tap. Nia Jax tries to enter the ring, so Bianca tries to enter the ring. And in the process, Nia Jax pushes Bianca into Sasha, breaks the hold. Sasha is looking all pissed off at Bianca, which was kind of stupid because, in storyline, she could see Nia pushed Bianca. And she's like, I had this one. She was good at tap. I had this one. I was trying to get Nia out of there. And they're just arguing. And then what ends up happening, Sasha's calling her rookie, kind of like smushes her in the face. So Bianca just very slowly climbs out of the ring, and what ends up happening is Sasha Banks loses. And Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler retain. We have no interference from Tamina and Natty. I know some of you were wondering if that was going to happen tonight. No, wait for SmackDown. You will have the 4 or the 5-way, like I said. But after the match is over, it was like Groundhog Day. I mean, I talked about this on Friday. If you're going to get into somebody's face, you don't say the same thing 5 times. And she's saying over and over again, like, I had the match won. I didn't need to get involved. You're the rookie. That's not it's And then she slaps Bianca. The loudest, the hardest, the reddest. I will not do it again. And Sasha leaves the ring. Did you notice WWE piping in those boos a little bit? Okay. Instead of just having the EST versus the boss, they piped in a few boos. And then Bianca is looking at the WrestleMania sign, and she's like I said, she's holding her face like, But thank God, I know a lot of you don't like Nia and Shayna as tag champs. But thank God they didn't put the belts on Bianca and Sasha. It's not needed for this. Now the playing field is more even for WrestleMania as far as the women's tag titles go. And that may not be a good thing when you think about it. But, just let them build the feud. Leave Reggie out of it. Leave tag belts out of it. Just the EST versus the boss. Thank God we don't have to worry about that anymore. So now we're supposed to go to Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon. What happens, I know you see Big E and Apollo, get into that. What happens is we see Shane McMahon earlier in the day doing a training session, and Shane McMahon appears to have injured his knee. So Shane McMahon cannot compete in the match with Braun Strowman. So a little bit later after that, we see Shane McMahon on crutches with an ice pack over his knee. That's pretty much bubble wrap, by the way. And Elias approaches Shane McMahon, and Elias is pretty much saying, look, I got an idea for a performance at WrestleMania. It'll make Bad Bunny look bad. And Shane McMahon has an idea that he wants to propose to Elias in the ring. And basically, I guess what the idea was going to be is that we all thought that, hey, if Elias takes on Braun Strowman and beats Braun Strowman, then Elias gets his segment at WrestleMania. We don't get that yet. First, we get Big E versus Apollo. Excellent match. Crappy finish. Excellent match. Anybody that's been tuning into my shows on a weekly basis, you know I've been saying this now for about 2 or 3 weeks. WWE and AEW have gotten into an awful habit. And I know some of you know what I'm talking about. The awful habit is when you have a high-level star, taking on another high-level star. They have this obsession now, more times than not, to have abrupt, I don't want to say bullshit finishes, but abrupt finishes where someone doesn't eat someone's finisher. You remember I talked about it with the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks taking on Santana and Ortiz for the tag titles. First title shot Santana and Ortiz get, and the Young Bucks win with a roll-up. And then we had another match recently. I think it was, what was it, Matt Jackson versus Ray Phoenix? I think it was Penta versus Cody, roll-up. Both companies are doing this. To have, their thinking is, oh, we can have so-and-so lose. We'll just do a roll-up. This way it doesn't hurt their credibility. We don't want that person eating the other one's finisher. We'll just do a roll-up. And that's fine. That's fine. But then what happens is you get things like this tonight. Okay, they don't want Apollo to get hit with the big ending. All right, so they try to do something which I guess was supposed to be, I don't know, a double pin. But remember what the move was right before the reverse. It was an inside freaking cradle. An attempted inside cradle. Big E reverses it and somehow got the pin. So what happens, Apollo Crews just beats the balls off of Big E after the match, hits him with a couple of angle slams, and to be continued. Why not just have Apollo Crews snap? Why not just have Big E snap? Get disqualified. Again, these roll-ups. Now, some of you out there that don't tune in on a weekly basis, you'll start noticing it. An awful lot of inside cradles, roll-ups, these finishes that you see it enough, you're like, okay, I see what they're doing now. It's hurting the quality of some matches because Big E versus Apollo Crews tonight was a lot of fun. And this ending, I don't know, man. I just didn't like the finish at all. It looked a little bit sloppy, seemed like a double pin. And again, this was right after an inside cradle attempt. That is, I'm telling you, if you've never noticed that before, you're going to start noticing that. But look, the feud is going to continue. It's going to go into WrestleMania. You know, I'm not going to give WrestleMania predictions right now, but I think we could say that, you know, Apollo Crews is going to be holding that belt down the line. I know he was recently United States champion on Raw, but he's going to hold gold again in the near future. I think Big E versus Roman Reigns is going to be a nice feud that will go down in the summertime. VJ, I am not going to WrestleMania. I wanted to go so bad. I'm fully vaccinated. You know, the problem is that a lot of my friends, you know, that I wanted to go with don't want to go. Some of them don't feel comfortable. Some are too young to get vaccinated. Some others just, you know, finances. And, you know, I thought about going, just go with her, fly down there. But I'm going on vacation Friday, August 2nd till Monday, August 5th. I will be back here Monday afternoon, so I should be here in time for Monday's Breakfast Soup Raw. But I'm going away the week before WrestleMania. But I will tell you this much. Next year, I will be at WrestleMania. And I hope a lot of you could come as well. I am definitely going. Unless something absolutely terrible happens to this country or me or my family. Something that totally prevent, or if I'm dead, I'm going. So, and you know me, I don't BS. I don't throw stuff out there just to get hits and likes and attention, and then, it leads to nothing. A lot of people do that. Ain't my style. So next year, we will all get together. Without a doubt, we will get together. I'll get into Ethan's comment in a moment, Ethan. Funny. All right, so next match. There we go. Talk to me. How come this is not working? Maybe I got to reset it. Give me a second, everybody. Little technical stuff for some reason. It happens. Pay-per-view. Hold on. Let me reset this. Yeah, let it play out, everybody. Let it skip through. There we go. Keep going. There we go. And I see it's out of place already. All right. Let's go. Hurry up. Andale. Vamos. Vamos means let's leave. Okay. Braun Strowman, Shane McMahon. This match doesn't happen. Elias earlier pitches this idea. I got an idea for WrestleMania. Performance. Embarrass Bad Bunny. They go to the ring, and Shane McMahon announces that Elias is going to take Shane McMahon's place tonight in the match with Braun Strowman. So we get Braun Strowman versus Elias. And yes, Braun Strowman beat the balls off of Elias. Jackson Riker, I don't care if he likes Trump, hates Trump, had sex with Trump, is Trump's brother, best man. This guy just is not clicking. It's not clicking. I feel bad because the guy is talented. It's a shame that politics had to get in the way and a few other things, let's be honest. That's why I'm telling you, social media for a lot of people in the end will bite somebody in the ass. I don't know if his career would have been that much different. Sure, they probably wouldn't have been taken off TV when they were at the time as the Forgotten Sons of Bitches, as we called them. But this guy is just going nowhere. Seriously. I mean, this reminds me of when they had his former partners in the corner of King Corbin. One of them got COVID. They didn't get released because of COVID, but one of them got COVID, was off TV, and never was brought back. It happens. Yeah, Lion, no, absolutely, man. I'm not defending any of the stuff he said. It's just, how can you be so stupid? Seriously. I mean, whether you're a wrestler on TV or you work in an office or you have your own business or you just socialize online, how could you be so stupid saying stuff like that? I mean, what do you accomplish? What's this guy going to do after this? Seriously. And don't give me show up in AEW, I honestly don't care. But he's just going nowhere. Braun Strowman beats the crap out of Elias. Now I'm thinking this could have gone three ways tonight after the match was over. When they showed Braun walking backwards out of the ring, Shane McMahon could have attacked him from behind with a crutch, embarrass him again, drop him in a pile of goop. Maybe you use the green goop again and leave him embarrassed. The problem is, with the other matches going on, especially Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton, because you notice I picked up on something immediately online. You saw what I tweeted earlier about Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton. We'll go a little ahead. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, they went through the announcers table. They tore it up. They had a phenomenal match. Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton followed that. And when you saw Randy Orton walking around ringside, magically, the entire ringside area, all the furniture was intact. It was as if nothing ever happened. And I don't know how they could be that sloppy and say, oh, they're going to go through a table. Oh, so we got to like dismantle the table. This way it kind of like, I don't know if anybody noticed that. Now imagine if they would have dropped a whole bunch of green slop on Braun Strowman again. You would have had to have had that green slop everywhere earlier today or yesterday when they filmed the Randy Orton, Alexa Bliss stuff. And it's just, that's too much to, as far as being meticulous. Craig feels that Drew is lame and boring. Look, not every wrestler that you see on TV you're going to like. You will like wrestlers that other people do not, and you will not like wrestlers that other people do. That's what wrestling is about. It's a little bit for everything. I liked the Alexa Randy Orton Fiend storyline. I thought lighting the Fiend on fire was kind of extreme, especially that, you know, it is family entertainment. And that was really all over the top, even though we knew the Fiend wasn't burned alive. But I guarantee you some little kids got creeped out by that. And honestly, look, I'm not trying to be cold. I care less about little kids, what they think about wrestling. You know, I mean, I used to laugh when all the little kids got creeped out from The Undertaker in 1990. They would, and WWE loved it too, because The Undertaker would come out and then they would pan the crowd and they'd put close-ups and little kids' faces going. They loved it. My God, they thought they hit home runs when they tormented the kids around ringside. Yeah. Look, I don't mind the pre-recorded stuff. Just remember that all this hocus pocus goes away when live fans come back, unless they purposely say, earlier today, this happened. They're not going to be able to portray it live on a pay-per-view or TV anymore. That's not going to happen. But getting back to Braun and Shane, one of three things could have happened after the match was over. One, when Braun Strowman was walking backwards, he would have been attacked by Shane. Shane would have faked the injury, beat the crap out of Braun, leave him laying again, and call him stupid that he fell for it. Or Shane McMahon is revealed during the show that he lied about his injury. They show him like he gets out of his car or something happens and, he suddenly could walk. Or the third thing, nothing. And nothing happened. So on Raw tomorrow, you will see Shane McMahon. Should be revealed that Shane is not injured at all. And then the match will be made for WrestleMania. It will be Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman. So, now I don't know if this went out of place. I think it might have gone out of place. No, not yet. Not yet. Okay. We had a segment with Old Spice, because Old Spice is one of WWE, the sponsors for WWE. And they have Tozawa looking for R-Truth, and R-Truth is hiding in the Old Spice case. Did any of you out there use Old Spice? I used Old Spice, no joke, probably in the late 80s, early 90s. I don't know, I saw the commercial and it would whistle. It would be like, and I bought it once because when you saw the commercial, you always saw the Irish guy and he was always surrounded by a whole bunch of women. Did I think putting on Old Spice was going to get women? No. But for some reason, I was like, oh, it must smell good. I got it. And it smelled like, if I remember correctly, didn't it smell like a smoky powder? It smelled like powder. And after I put it on, I was like, oh, this is horrible. This is horrible. Once in a while, I'm not kidding, once in a while, some of my customers over the years would get me a Christmas gift. Most of them would usually get me a bottle of wine. But once in a while, somebody would give me like a gift set. And you realize they walked into Rite Aid or Walgreens and they have for like $5.99. It's like a gift pack of all like colognes and stuff. And there's always a little bottle of Old Spice in it, because it's cheap shit. It would be like Old Spice, some green crap, and two other things, and they would give it me for Christmas, and I'd throw it in the garbage. I would throw it in the garbage, Old Spice. But we got that segment today. Comedy. Tozawa, basically beats R-Truth, but R-Truth wins it back. So maybe I got to put that match result in the synopsis, maybe. So we get Seth Rollins versus Nakamura. And before the match, now because New Day wasn't on the card, now Riddle approaches Nakamura. Wants to go into business with Nakamura. He thinks that they should trick up some scooters, like soup them up. LED lights, a bubble machine, boosters. He wants to put hair on the scooter so it looks like a stallion and flies like a Mustang. And he's ranting and raving, and you know exactly what's happening. They have the close-up on Nakamura, and it was like a scene from Airplane. Remember Airplane? When the guy was on the plane and he kept talking about his history, and you had one guy with the knife, he went, and then you had another woman, she OD'd and killed herself. They did that with Nakamura. This time, Nakamura just walked away. Bro, where'd you go? Riddle leaves and Nakamura comes out of the closet. Nakamura comes out of the closet. Scratch that. Nakamura comes out from the hallway. Look, they've tweaked Riddle's character a little bit. Now he's just a happy-go-lucky guy. He doesn't come off as brain dead anymore. I tell you, a year ago, I still couldn't get into Riddle. Now, I like him. I could get past the Goldberg stuff and everything else. But, so now we get Nakamura versus Seth Rollins. Now, yes, most of us pretty much figured Seth Rollins was going to win this match. Are you surprised that Cesaro didn't come out? I expected Rollins to continue beating down Nakamura, especially after what happened on SmackDown. And this forces Cesaro to come out there. They get a little bit of a brawl. Maybe even if you wanted to go a different direction, Cesaro could have distracted Seth Rollins and Nakamura could have got the win. But Seth Rollins, it was a very competitive match. I mean, there were times that you thought Nakamura was winning this. Towards the end, there was a weird kind of move. Did you see, Seth Rollins kind of hooked his leg on Nakamura and then nailed him in the back of the head? I don't know if that was intended to be that way, but Seth Rollins hits the curb stop, gets the win. And unfortunately, everyone that tunes in every week to my shows, this is now 4 weeks in a row. Everything that we thought was going to happen to Nakamura has happened. And that's not a good thing, because you remember the New Year's Day, we had that discussion about Nakamura. Why isn't WWE using him more? He's maybe at the beginning of the tail end of his career, but he could still go. He's still technically in his prime. Why they wasted him? Then all of a sudden he got those series of wins and big wins. And they were like, holy shit, they're finally giving us the Nakamura that we always wanted to see. And then we started fearing, even though Daniel Bryan is a big part of this happening, the Royal Rumble is coming up. And you know the history of the Royal Rumble. Some people get suddenly a whole bunch of wins, and all it's doing is trying to give you the thought that that person could win the Rumble, and as soon as the Rumble ends, so goes their push. And that's what's happened to Nakamura. He's getting high-profile matches, but the last 4 weeks, Nakamura's stock on SmackDown has gone down. And that's not his fault. It sucks. But we all saw this a mile away. And Seth Rollins beats him today clean. And, look, Nakamura is still a big star. But this shut up, it's a little comedy for 5 seconds. But then when you realize, shit, they're bringing this guy back down again. It was a very good match, though. I told you all that I thought Nakamura and Seth Rollins might end up being my favorite match of the night. Now, it ended up it wasn't, but it was an excellent, excellent match. But in the end, Seth Rollins wins. Tomorrow night, Rhea Ripley makes her Raw debut. Tomorrow night, we should have the WrestleMania match set. And look, it looks like it's either going to be Asuka versus Rhea Ripley or Asuka versus Charlotte, or what I want to see, Asuka versus Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley. I think that's the way to go. I think Charlotte should come out. I know the controversy. We talked about it on Friday. her picture disappearing from the WrestleMania pictures, but so did Bad Bunny's face. And nobody said anything about Bad Bunny being taken off the pictures for a little while. Smoking Hydro thinks that Rhea Ripley will be a heel. It's possible. It's possible. I personally don't think that would be smart, because when they start getting fans back in attendance, I said this about a month and a half ago, that I started getting the feeling about Rhea Ripley, the same feeling I got when Charlotte was approaching the end of her NXT tenure. I know a lot of you are not happy with how they forced Charlotte on TV and, the titles and everything else. Charlotte is still one of my favorites in the women's division, but towards the end of her NXT reign, you had this feeling that something, like she had all the tools. And I've always said this, I put her and Asuka 1 and 2. And the only reason why I don't put Asuka number 1 is because Asuka doesn't really speak English. I know that kind of sounds a little shallow, but when you have a storyline with someone and you have to give that suspension of disbelief that you're, verbally destroying your opponent by verbally putting them down, that is a big deal. I mean, being able to verbally express and not just, I love Asuka. I wish Asuka would have, had more, of English, language, speaking, because she would easily be my number 1. But Charlotte can just verbally put herself in a situation. And not everybody could do that. Not everybody has that ability. Whether you like her or not, you have to admit that. Rhea Ripley, I get the same feeling now about Rhea Ripley than I did back then. And you know who I'm starting to feel that way towards also? Raquel Gonzalez. If Raquel Gonzalez could get a little bit better on the mic, she's still got ways to go. But a year from now, it's going to be really interesting to see where Raquel Gonzalez fits in on the main roster. And I know some of you out there don't like calling, NXT the secondary roster and Raw and SmackDown the main roster, but that's what it is. That's what it is. There's no way around that. So, moving on, and I think this is where we go out of place, right? Oh, no, we don't? Oh, wow, okay. All right, we don't go out of place. Nice. Okay, Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus. You might remember last Monday, the one problem that Mish and I had about this match at Fastlane was that there was no stipulation. 2 weeks ago, they beat the crap out of each other, that the match had to end abruptly because of the steel steps colliding. Remember Sheamus's head? They tore it up. A match to remember. They had that second match. And actually, I think I might have flip-flopped it. The second match they had was phenomenal also. And you needed the third to basically end this feud. For now. I don't want to see the feud ended for good. The way they portrayed it on TV, they'll never wrestle against each other again, and that'll happen. But they tore it up today and had a great match. And Michael, I agree with you. Sheamus maybe deserves to be in the championship hunt. Whether you like Sheamus or not, you look at the matches he had with Riddle, you look at the matches he had with Drew, you look at the matches he had with Jeff, you look at the matches he's had with others. Riddle, the match he had with Riddle was phenomenal. Sheamus has put on some of the better matches over the last 12 months for WWE. I mean, look, he's no Kenny Omega, but he is put on consistently solid matches. But, however, though, this WrestleMania, I really would not put him in heavyweight title picture. Sometimes too many ingredients spoil the soup. Right now I'm happy with Bobby Lashley versus Drew, or Lashley versus Drew versus Brock. Now, again, I would be shocked. We talked about this Friday. I would be shocked if we had 2 3-way matches at WrestleMania. Right now it looks like it could very well be Roman versus Edge versus Daniel Bryan. Or, like I said earlier, Daniel Bryan is special guest referee. But if they do that three-way, I would be shocked if they did a three-way for the heavyweight championship as well. So, Sheamus, you want to know something? There was one point where I could not stand Sheamus. And I think a lot of you remember who it was. We got so sick of Sheamus versus Randy Orton. I mean, you look back on it, and it's almost like the same running gag of Lana going through a table every week. There was some points, and I invite any of you out there, do a Google search, and there's a database that keeps all the results of all the wrestlers' matches. Look up Sheamus, and then you have the opportunity to type in an opponent of his, and then type in Randy Orton. And when you realize how many matches they had on TV, I mean, when they had that night where all the fans were doing the wave and chanting Michael Cole, JBL, remember that night? The fans were just like, this is enough. This is getting like ridiculous now. That was the time where I disliked Sheamus the most. But look, he was battling spinal stenosis, and he came back, and he's doing as best as he could. And he's been putting on consistently excellent matches. You can't complain about his matches. But even with that, I still would not put him in any main event. As we're doing this, Blue just posted that Andrade has been officially released. That means 90-day no compete. End of June. I hope it's... look, I'm not trying to say that Blue is being untrue. But for all of you, see if this news is straight up. I don't know if that's assumption or reported, but Extreme is now saying it as well. So, okay. Yeah, so it looks like Andrade is officially gone. Look, we talked about Andrade last Monday and the week before. Andrade, I think people forget how much Andrade was on our TV last year. I mean, if you remember, there was about 2 months that Andrade, sometimes you would have more than one match. It's a shame of what happened with Zelina Vega, Thea Trinidad. Could they both show up on AEW? Absolutely. Could they show up on Impact Wrestling? Absolutely. I don't know where he would be a good fit. I'll have that conversation with Mish tomorrow, since he wasn't on the pay-per-view tonight. But I'll think about it and see where he would be a really good fit. That's something that definitely need to think about. So tonight you had Sheamus and Drew just beating the balls off of each other. No holds barred match. They, went through tables. There was one point where Drew knocked Sheamus off of some type of lift that they were on, and Sheamus went through. They used some special effects with sparks and, something that you would think that they would have done more often in recent months. But, Israel, when they showed the close-up on Sheamus's back, he had welts, but you could see that these two guys truly love beating the balls out of each other. And I said this 3 weeks ago, and I'll say it again now. I think a couple of years from now, even if they do one sooner, I think a couple of years from now, if Sheamus does a Smoking Skull session with Steve Austin, or if Drew does another one, I have a feeling they're going to go back and both say that each other has been their favorite opponent in their career. You can just tell sometimes where even though it's really physical and even though they are beating the pants out of each other, you could tell they are just loving it and having fun. And that's what makes the matches so enjoyable, because they put crazy effort. Now, the story being told today is Sheamus feels it should have been him. Should have been him. As soon as he started yelling that out, you knew that Drew was going to hit him with a Claymore and it was going to be all over. But, in the end, Drew McIntyre comes out on top. Sheamus tried to attempt the Alabama Slam through a table. Drew McIntyre countered with the Future Shock DDT, then nails him with the Claymore kick. Hard-fought battle. I tell you, it's a toss-up for me as far as favorite match of the night. It's either that one or Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan. Both outcomes, I think, were pretty much predictable, but this one, you could tell that these two guys wanted to try to have the best match of the night. You know, you could tell sometimes when some people just seem to be going through the motions, do what they need to do and just get out of there, punch their card, do their job, and punch out. These two guys took it to another level. It was a lot of fun. But in the end, Drew McIntyre wins, and he has the momentum going into WrestleMania. Are you all surprised that Bobby Lashley didn't get involved? Bobby Lashley teased it on social media. That was one of the bonus questions that I had on the predictions contest on Patreon. I'm a little surprised that Bobby Lashley didn't try to get involved, you know, but hey, they kept it one-on-one. They had a hard-fought battle, and, you know, this is one of those that Sheamus loses no stock, even though he lost this match. Eagle, we talked about it a couple of minutes ago. Andrade's been released. Yes, we will talk about it tomorrow. Mish and I will have another conversation about that. So, you know, he's officially gone. Be interesting tomorrow if Charlotte comes out and you realize all that stuff that those websites were writing, you know. Anyway, now we get to the final two matches of the night. First off, Ethan Kaufman, Alexa Mountain Randy Orton like she has before. This was what they call a Gaga match. The funny thing is, this match, as far as offense goes, was very similar to John Cena versus Bray Wyatt. It literally was just one move. It was literally just one move. Maybe, he continues with the comedy. Maybe Randy Orton had sunny days with Alexa Bliss before. You know who would not like what you're saying right now? That derelict in, what state was he in? That derelict that was obsessed with Alexa Bliss. I hope that guy got caught. You know, should he go to jail? I don't know. I mean, but, you know, maybe it scares the shit out of him, you know, to just like go find a hobby. You know, I mean, that was just creepy shit that went on online. Some of the shit that guy was saying towards even Alexa's fiance was really messed up, man. Alexa took Orton on a dream ride. Yeah, I'm telling you, this match, without all the extra segments, they didn't reminisce on Randy Orton's career. But if you remember Bray Wyatt with John Cena, you know, they had him in a whole bunch of skits. Okay, here's where it went out of place. All right, we could show it. Unfortunately, we won't. We'll have to show the Roman Reigns match as a separate graphic. That's all right. I could cue it up in 2 seconds. But let me pull this up. Pay-per-view. There we go. All right. Okay, I got it. Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton. If you remember The Fiend versus John Cena, they did all those skits, which I loved. To me, I know it's unpopular, but for me, John Cena versus The Fiend was this much better than Undertaker AJ Styles. It was awfully close, but only because the creativity and the psychology part of The Fiend versus John Cena, going through those phases. Mind games. That's why I like mind games. Tonight we had mind games. Again, this is all hocus pocus. This is all pre-recorded, edited stuff. That's what you do in entertainment. In entertainment, you splice, you record, you cut, you mix together, you put segments together. That's what they did tonight. You know, and again, a lot of people still aren't aware of this, but with Thunderdome, the people in Thunderdome, what they see on their computer screen is what we see at home. So it's not like we go to a commercial break and everybody in Thunderdome sees them changing Alexa Bliss's outfit and her makeup and stuff like that. No, they go to commercial break just like we do. we get a frozen screen because I've been on Thunderdome 5 times, and they see what we see. So everything you saw tonight with Randy Orton and Alexa Bliss was pre-recorded. It's all segments put together nicely, and then they play it for everybody in Thunderdome. That's what it is. And I got news for you. The people in Thunderdome, because I know what you're all going to say, if they recorded this yesterday, how did they have the Thunderdome screens in the background? I'm always one step ahead. Because what WWE has been caught doing a lot in the past is they will use pre-recorded Thunderdome footage for NXT. They will use pre-recorded Thunderdome footage for other matches. A lot of the Alexa Bliss pre-recorded stuff, they use stock footage. If you look at the Thunderdome audience before the Randy Orton match and after the Randy Orton match, and then look in the middle, magically you see different people. That's why if you notice, when things happen, when you're front center camera, you know you're on TV because you could see yourself. So if you're front set camera and you see yourself on TV, that's when people like, and they get all animated. If you look at some of the things that were going on, they showed no reaction because it was pre-recorded footage. And again, as I said earlier, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus went through the announcers table. When Randy Orton went around ringside, suddenly all the furniture around the announcers areas was perfect. How they don't think about that beforehand, I think they just don't care. I think they just don't care. I think they feel that we're not going to turn it off because we realize this is pre-recorded. We just want to be entertained. And yeah, that's probably the best way to go about it. But for me, I'm a stickler to detail. Because that's the first thing I would have said. Like, wait a minute. If Drew and Sheamus could go through a table later, isn't it going to look ridiculous that the tables are intact when they have their brawl? Alexa and Randy Orton, whatever they do. Yeah, Puffy89. Good point, Puffy89. I love when smart minds are on the show. If you look closely to the top of the building, you could see it was light out too. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's little things like that. You and I may think that that's a big deal, but to them, it's not a big deal to them at all. And that's a shame because, little things like that you should cover, especially the history of Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. You remember when they fought in that house and it was dark, but then they drove to the building, and when they got to the building, it was light out? I mean, how do you get so careless? I mean, I guess maybe it's better to not give a shit than to be careless. If you think about it, like if you know that, there's a light difference, fuck it, then you know that there's something wrong, but you don't give a shit anyway. Like, what's worse, knowing that it's wrong and you just go with it anyway, or not realizing it, though it's light out? I personally think they just don't give a shit. But basically what happens with this is early on, Randy Orton goes to the ring and he starts coughing up the black goop again. And I'm looking around at the Thunderdome and there's no reaction. So then Alexa Bliss makes her entrance. The lights turn purple. They mess with the Firefly Funhouse music, distort it a little bit. Then you see some flames around the ring, creeps out Randy Orton. Randy Orton tries to charge Alexa Bliss, and he goes shoulder first into the ring post, and Alexa Bliss, like, she's having a good time. That's why, like I say, even though it's all hocus pocus, even though it's goofy voodoo stuff, I mean, Alexa Bliss has hit a home run with this. She's done everything that she's needed to do perfect. And let's also be honest. If you and I, now obviously you and I wouldn't fit the role, but if you and I were in wrestling And, you know, we were not very good in the ring, or maybe dealing with some health issues here and there. And we had the capability, or the opportunity to be in a storyline where you're just like a creative character, and you mean to tell me that you wouldn't have a ball doing it? I think Alexa Bliss right now is having the time of her life. How could you, if you don't like the voodoo stuff and you just want straight up wrestling, I could respect that entirely. But, you know, the Fiend is a monster. It's science fiction. The Fiend gets melted and burned alive. I mean, if you look in the past, you know, didn't Kane like go through a whole bunch of fire? Didn't Shane get his testicles electrocuted? Didn't he go with a limo through the bottom of a Mack truck? I mean, there's been some hokey shit. I mean, didn't Jim Ross get burned alive one time? Wasn't Jim Ross like laid down, and didn't Kane light him on fire? And somebody said, oh, looks like they're roasting a pig. They have done stuff like this before in different capacity. And that's all it said. Look, Alexa Bliss, it looks like she's having fun. She throws the fireball, and Randy Orton like kind of blocks it. Obviously, they need to block it in storyline, because if Randy Orton didn't block it, I'm not going to search for the picture where you have Rudolph the red nose, you know, and then a week later, remember we wore the mask? And then a week later for the Royal Rumble, his face was perfect. I mean, at least do something on TV where his face is all red. And maybe Alexa Bliss says, oh, Randy, I'm sorry what happened to your face. Look, Randy, I'll make it better. And then Randy Orton's face is perfect. Instead, no, we'll just have him show up at the Royal Rumble a week later, and his face, suddenly the plastic surgery, he's in perfect shape. I hate stuff like that. There's very easy ways to go around and do a little science fiction. Alexa Bliss, oh, Randy, I'm sorry for burning your face. Here, I'll make it better. Freeze frame, take the makeup off, back on TV, splice it together, hocus pocus, yowie wowie, right? So they're outside the ring, and she's basically like, look out, and Randy Orton looks up, and a big light fixture falls right between them. The lights were off, obviously. Still would have hurt if it would have hit somebody. And Alexa Bliss is like, missed. You know, like, but it was comedy. It was meant to be like goofy funny. And she's tormenting Randy Orton. And Randy Orton's like, what are you trying to kill me? And she's giggling and this and that. And then I honestly thought this was way too fast. Way too fast. They get back in the ring, and suddenly you see something cut open the bottom of the ring apron, and arm comes out, hand comes out, and it's Bray Wyatt. And obviously it's a glove. You know, they have everything thick to make it look like, you know, he's been in it's like somebody said earlier, he looked more like he was in a swamp with Braun Strowman than he was burned alive. But his hand comes out, grabs Randy Orton, and now I'm thinking of yesteryear. Is he going to pull Randy Orton under the ring? No. Bray Wyatt comes out of the ring. And I'll say this in the utmost respectful way. I have enjoyed this storyline. It's had its goofy moments. Well, there's been a lot of goofy moments, but it's had some really ridiculously goofy moments. But overall, I've liked it. I could get past a little bit of sci-fi. Big deal. But I thought the finish of this was awful. And I'll tell you why. Alexa Bliss gets the win. That was my prediction. Alexa Bliss was going to beat Randy Orton. The Fiend gives Sister Abigail to Randy Orton, and then Alexa Bliss pins Randy Orton. And this was the aftermath of the match. Alexa Bliss is on her knees. She's smiling. She put her arms up, you know, old school Raven-esque. Bray Wyatt is behind her. You know, again, you know, it's just an outfit. It's got to look like he was burned. That's why they brought him back. In the end, Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, will be pretty much what he used to be. But this is how they had to reintroduce him. Now, Why do I say the ending was very stupid? Now, I like the mask. I think they did a great job with the mask. You know, they didn't do too much to it. They just cut open one of the holes a little bit more than another one to make it look like it melted. They added a lot of dark colors to make it look like that it's been charred. So they did a good job with it. That's what people in Hollywood do. That's what special effects people are paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to do. Now, they didn't get paid that kind of money to make a mask, but, you know, look at all the movies. Look at the Rob Zombie films. I mean, this is what people get paid for. So doing a mask like this is not anything like unbelievably hard to do. But the reason why I didn't like this is in storyline. You get burned alive, and Alexa Bliss has been taunted for months, and you come back and get revenge on the person who burned you alive, and all you do is assist Sister Abigail? If Randy Orton would have killed the Fiend's, one of his pets, Rambling Rabbit, it would have been like a 5-minute version of the John Wick movie. Like, you come back, and the person who burned you alive, all you do is assist Sister Abigail, and you're content? Should have beat the balls off of him. Should have tried to set him on fire. Have WWE officials all run down to the ring. We're not going to have a repeat of what happened to you, Fiend. Sister Abigail, pose. You ever try to set me on fire, motherfucker? I'm going to light your balls on fire. And then I'm going to think they're marshmallows. I'm going to put twigs on them. I'm going to take your eyeballs and set them on fire. Nothing else. I'm just going to take your glasses and put lighter fluid on your glasses and set it on fire. A Sister Abigail and a pose. Gee. Thought that was lame. I thought that was so goddamn lame. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Now we go to the main event. Oh, yeah, this was out of place. So we have to do it this way. There we go. Yeah, I know it's a little bit bigger. I could fix that. It's not that big a deal. I fix it. There we go. Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. Now, we've talked about a lot of this match already. They tore it up. Roman Reigns retains the championship, but in a lot of controversy. We have Edge outside the ring as a special ring enforcer. Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan. It's not just a Gaga match. They were putting it all out there. There were points where we thought Roman Reigns had the win locked up. Daniel Bryan had the yes lock on Roman Reigns. At one point towards the very end of the match, Roman Reigns was tapping like this. So the storyline going into Friday is that the match, very competitive. Best match of the night. For me, best match of the night. Edge, and we talked about this a week ago. They didn't use Edge as a special guest referee because they didn't want Edge to have to be active during the whole match, doing 2 counts, do you submit, this and that. They wanted his interaction to be minimal. Later on, there's a ref bump, and now Edge is forced to come into play. And Edge is in the ring. Daniel Bryan, puts Roman Reigns in the yes lock, and Roman Reigns is about to tap. Jey Uso shows up with a chair. Chair bashes Daniel Bryan, chair bashes Edge. Okay, it's not a no DQ match, but we'll get to that. So Edge is laid out. Then Daniel Bryan gets the chair and then inadvertently nails Edge with it. And it was pretty, let's be honest, it was pretty lame because you can't do chair shots to the head anymore. And Daniel Bryan wanted to wind up and do this. It's funny because we were talking about it on Friday. Remember when we were talking about Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Bret Hart, and Shawn Michaels inadvertently knocked out Undertaker and was forced to count it? So, we knew there was going to be a chair shot in this match. But instead of having Edge accidentally chair bash Daniel Bryan and then be forced to count, he wasn't the referee. He was the special enforcer. So technically, Edge couldn't make the count. That's why Edge technically didn't disqualify Daniel Bryan for hitting him with the chair. So what happens? Daniel Bryan hits Edge in the arm with the chair. And I think it's the same arm that Edge was selling when he had his match with Jey Uso. It might have been the other arm, but still, he's in the corner. And Daniel Bryan puts the S-lock on Roman Reigns once again. Now, Jey Uso is out because Daniel Bryan took him out. I don't know where Adam Pearce was. If you think storyline, I don't know where Adam Pearce was. But Daniel Bryan has the S-lock on on Roman Reigns, and here is where Roman Reigns starts tapping very, very lightly. Then out of nowhere, Edge takes the chair and nails Daniel Bryan with him. Nails Roman Reigns with it. Nails them both with the chair. And Edge is pissed off. This is supposed to be for me. This is mine. This is mine. Leaves the chair, walks out of the ring, goes to the back. They kind of pipe in some boos, if you noticed. Now, if you remember, let's go back 2 weeks. It was very confusing as to why Edge thought how Daniel Bryan got this championship match was wrong. Daniel Bryan won a match to be able to face Roman Reigns at Fastlane. In storyline, Daniel Bryan didn't cheat, didn't take a shortcut. I understand Edge in storyline has the WrestleMania main event, but Adam Pearce is the one that made the match for Fastlane. So it was a little bit shaky as to why would Edge be mad? If you look at the whole Edge character in the past, Edge should not be mad. Now, for people out there that immediately think that Edge turned heel, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. I think, and I'm not trying to be a jerk here, I think newer wrestling fans that maybe weren't around when Edge was Edge back in the day, I think newer fans immediately think Edge turned heel. But for us older fans that have been around for a while, Edge returning for WWE is an inspirational story. They are doing 24s. They are doing another documentary for Edge. Edge, it would be very surprising if they made Edge a heel right now. And it would be stupid because he's going up against Roman Reigns for the championship. Edge and Roman Reigns would not be on the same page. Edge is basically just caring about himself right now. He's not a heel and he's not a babyface. He's a WrestleMania challenger. And that's the storyline. I understand what he did tonight technically would be something that a heel would do. But Daniel Bryan hit him with the chair. Obviously, Edge knew it was an accident, but still chair bashed Daniel Bryan anyway. He also hit Roman Reigns. Like I said at the beginning of the show, and I made that prediction last Friday. I said last Friday that something's going to happen to Daniel Bryan tonight where he's going to go on SmackDown and complain to Adam Pearce that I should have been champion, that I was screwed and I should get the opportunity at WrestleMania. Now we just have to wait 5 days to see, is he the third person in the match or is he the special guest referee? In my opinion, I think it makes more sense for him to be in the match because he's going to show the footage. They're going to show the footage on SmackDown of Roman Reigns doing this, tapping. Why would you want to be a referee if you got the heavyweight champion to tap? So I can't see how in storyline Adam Pearce could convince Daniel Bryan to just be a referee and Daniel Bryan is fine with that. It'd be ridiculously stupid. Well, be the referee, and then after WrestleMania, you get an opportunity again. It would make no sense because his promos for the last couple of weeks, this might be my last WrestleMania. This might be my last WrestleMania. So under no circumstances do you take a referee job. No, you want to be in the match. So if you follow everything, the only thing that Daniel Bryan should insist on Friday is to be in the match. And I have a feeling they will make it a three-way. Daniel Bryan got screwed tonight. And that's exactly what we talked about on Friday. Daniel Bryan will be screwed. Complain to Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce makes a call. I think Sonya Deville will announce the women's match. Adam Pearce will announce the change in that match. It would also make the storyline a little better because Roman Reigns would be even more pissed off now because not only does he have to deal with Edge, he has to deal with Daniel Bryan. It would have been good if they made Kevin Owens special guest referee. Right? I wouldn't have mind Kevin Owens being a special guest referee. So, look, that's how I look at it. We'll see what happens in 5 days. I'll tell you this much, and we're going to start closing this out now. I'll tell you this much. And I say this as a compliment to all of you, especially for those who were with me for most of the show tonight. We started this recap. Let me see how long this has been going. Well, I don't want to screw it up. We've been going now. Oh, I forgot to hit record on the audio. That's okay. I could grab it from the video. That's funny. I forgot to record audio tonight. We've been going now for about what? 2 hours? 2 hours, 15 minutes? The fact that we did a recap for that long shows you that this pay-per-view left us very interested as far as what with WrestleMania, with Randy Orton and The Fiend, with Daniel Bryan and what's going to happen with him in the heavyweight title match. When you see what's going to happen with Big E and Apollo Crews. We pretty much knew in the women's side what was going to happen there. But the fact that we could have this much convo, no, I'm telling you, the pay-per-view ended. Well, maybe it is 90 minutes. I don't know. Well, still, even if it's 90 minutes, the fact that we were able to have a long conversation like this and talk about in detail as far as what's going to lead next, that shows you that they probably did what they were supposed to tonight. A couple of moments, a little less to be desired, but pay-per-view was okay. As far as the last stop to WrestleMania, I thought it did what it needed to do. No title changes other than the 24/7 title, but what the 24/7 title is. So for me, on a scale of 1 to 10, I give the pay-per-view a 7. There really were not any bad matches tonight. I don't consider Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton a match. That was more of just a segment. The Braun Strowman Elias match was a total squash. That match, I hate to say, I don't want to say it was the worst match on the card. It was my least favorite match of the card, least liked match. Elias versus Braun Strowman, I didn't think was needed. But obviously, this is to further the storyline. Shane McMahon is tonight technically revealed that he's afraid of Braun Strowman and doesn't want to face Braun Strowman, and he suckered Elias into taking on Braun Strowman, and we should know on Raw, Shane McMahon faked the injury. That's pretty much where I see it going. The fact that Seth Rollins and Nakamura had a great match, Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns tore it up, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus tore it up, Big E and Apollo, for what it was very good as well. The women's match just pretty much progressed the storyline. Ali versus Riddle was decent, so I give it a 7 out of 10. I mean, there was nothing that was extremely bad, so I give it a 7 out of 10. Favorite match of the night, Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns, with Drew and Sheamus coming in as a close second. And my least favorite match, Braun Strowman versus Elias. But so we'll see what happens on Raw. It should be a decent show. Obviously, we're going to see some additional storylines progress. I expect it'd be interesting if Bray Wyatt opens up Raw tomorrow. And again, don't be surprised if Bray Wyatt is in the Firefly Funhouse and he looks normal. Because remember, the Fiend got set on fire, not Bray Wyatt. So we'll see what we get. I don't know if Alexa Bliss shows up. Maybe she speaks for the Fiend. I don't know. But that will progress. We should have the Raw Women's Championship match set by tomorrow as well. Because WrestleMania is in 2 weeks. Well, no, 3 weeks. No, 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. Isn't it 2 weeks? 28, 6? Yeah, about 2 weeks from now. Because my birthday is next Saturday. So, no, 3 weeks from now. Excuse me, 3 weeks. Next Saturday is I'm not saying it for birthday wish or gifts. I'm just looking at the time. That's why I'm going away. Next Saturday is my birthday. The Saturday after I go away, and then the third Saturday is WrestleMania. So, yeah, we're 20 days away. Thank you, Lee. But tomorrow should be interesting. I'll be here with Mish. We'll talk about Raw. I'm sure we'll have a few things to say about Andrade getting his official release. We will see if those reports about Charlotte are accurate. Based on the track record of everything else that they've been talking about the last 2 weeks, their story is probably not accurate at all. But it should be a good show tomorrow. Not just Raw, but here as well. So, as I say, as always, and one last Super Chat comment before we go. Crazy Cruiserweight. He knows where Adam Pearce was. He was playing in 2 matches for main event. And thoughts on Andrade getting released? Well, like I said, we're going to talk about Andrade tomorrow. But, just to reiterate what I said Friday and last Monday, Andrade was used an awful lot last year on Raw. I think people forget how much they were used. I mean, there were some points where we were like Andrade, Angel Garza, and Zelina Vega were the 3 biggest, most used on Raw. This is before the Hurt Business started really getting momentum. But I tell you, Zelina Vega, was let go. I think the person who's been hurt the most out of this is Angel Garza. Because Angel Garza, after Andrade was off TV and Zelina Vega got released, they started doing a storyline with Angel Garza with the Rose. And everybody and their mother said that Eva Marie was coming back. She was going to debut 6 months ago, 5 months ago, 4 months ago, 3 months ago. And meanwhile, Angel Garza's stock has been going down and down and down and down. I know he had that injury last year, but I haven't heard that this injury has been nagging. He's been on main event. It's just, he has been hurt the most. Andrade, I remember couple of years ago, a few people saying, oh, he's going to be WWE heavyweight champion. There was just something missing about his personality. He is a really, really talented wrestler, one of the best wrestlers in the last 10 years come out of, Mexico, wrestling in that neck of the woods, coming here. But unfortunately, something just did not click. And this is World Wrestling Entertainment. And I'm not saying this to defend WWE or not WWE, but there was a certain entertainment aspect of Andrade that was missing. And that probably is a guy where COVID hurt. They shoved him down our throats in 2020 at some points. And the ratings did not reflect it. The ratings, the fans were not, and let's also be honest. I don't want to single anybody out. I'm just talking as a broad statement here. When Andrade was on TV, a lot of people were saying, get this guy off my TV. Why is everything with Raw, Andrade, and why are they getting this much time? Why are they all... I mean, people were really getting sick of the amount of use. And if you think I'm making it up, just do a Twitter search and just do it by time. Go February 1st, 2020 to August 1st, 2020. And then type in Andrade WWE and see what comes up. Majority of people wanted the guy off their TV. They got it. He's a guy that had a lot of potential, but unfortunately, when it comes to international stars, quite often, there's something that doesn't click, and it's very, very hard to overcome that. So... yeah, Sam, it's true. It's true. A lot of these people, and it's funny. You do a Twitter search on some Twitter accounts, you think some people have split personalities because they're ripping the shreds Andrade when he was on TV, and when he's off TV, they're like, oh, he should be back on TV. Why aren't they using him? Huh? Maybe they wanted him back on TV so they could rip him. As weird as that sounds, I wouldn't be surprised. But you know who the biggest guilty subjects are? The ones who delete all their old tweets. You do a search on some people's Twitter accounts, you'll check 2020, type in Andrade, no results found. So they delete all their negative tweets. Now they're all big Andrade supporters. It's a shame that he didn't go further, but he still is in the prime of his career. Maybe he could come back one day. I personally was against him going back to NXT. I want to see Nakamura back in NXT. I do not want to see Andrade in NXT. There are some people I think that would have a great fit. I don't think bringing Andrade back to NXT would be the answer. So, anyway, with that said, I am going to jet out of here. I hope you all enjoyed this recap. Once again, if you enjoyed the show, I'd appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up before I exit. And Monday night, 11:05 p.m., I will be here with Mish for Breakfast Soup Raw. We'll cover Raw, some other news. Probably have a few comments on the NWA pay-per-view. I watched half of it already. Not saying it to brag, but I got every match correct there as well. A lot of people were very surprised that Thunder Rosa lost, not understanding that Camille is the one that they need to focus on pushing, especially since NWA's been off TV for a while. So, trust me, Thunder Rosa loses no stock by losing the match with Camille. But we'll talk about that Monday night and a few other things. So everyone, have a great night. Wow. I still get to finish the show before midnight. So, it's a shame that we had to bring this picture up again. But, hey, at least we got to talk a little bit about Nikki Cross. Nikki, you're not forgotten. But that was so sad to see that picture. Everybody's smiling except for one person. So, but all right, everybody, I'm out of here. Have a great night, and I will catch you all again Monday, 11:05 p.m. Eastern for Breakfast Soup Raw. So post your comments, your feedback in the comment section. As you know, I definitely respond to pretty much everyone. Let me know your favorite match tonight, least favorite match tonight. Would you give it on a scale of 1 to 10? If you have any added comments you want to make about Andrade, what did you think about the Fiend's return? What did you think about, how they had Alexa go over on Randy Orton? Speak up. Let everybody know. But have a great night, everyone. Talk to you tomorrow. Ciao.